Hello and welcome everybody to Game 4 of Feast vs. MMA from IEM Kiev quarterfinals. Spawning in the 7 o'clock position as the Blue Protoss, playing from Team Millennium we have Feast. His opponent spawning as the Red Terran, playing from Team Slayers in the 12 o'clock position of Shattered Temple we have MMA. Now, MMA is currently up in this best of 5. This is Game 4, and MMA is currently up 2-1 in this series. If MMA is to take this game, he's going to take the series. But on the other hand, if Feast is to take Game 4, he's going to tie it up 2-2 and push it to a Game 5. So will he be able to do so? Will he be able to take a win off one of the best Terran players in the world? We will have to see here on Shattered Temple. Once again, we have cross-spawn positions, which means most likely that we are going to be seeing some kind of a macro game from both of these players. This is a very, very common map for getting a lot of macro going just because the third base here is very, very easy to take. You always have this option of taking down these destructible debris and then taking this third base here, or taking out these destructible debris and taking a gold base very quickly, but that's much, much more exposed to the center of the map, so it's a little bit riskier of a base to take. So it's one of the deciding factors. That's one thing that a lot of players do not put nearly enough consideration into when they are playing their own games, but that bases control the pacing of the game. When you take your bases versus your opponent. When your opponent takes bases, when you take bases, that is what determines a lot of the game. And almost everything you should do in StarCraft should be based around that. This is something that Day 9 talks about quite often. And that is that every single move that you make, anytime you move your army somewhere, anytime you do anything at all in StarCraft, it should be focused around bases. It should be focused either on staying on a base and building an army to attack your opponent while you take more bases, or have a very, very conscious decision that you are not going to take any more base at all and you are just going to win the game. Or maybe you're just going to go for heavy expansions. Maybe you're just going to place your army in a very good defensive position and then just try to take lots and lots of bases as greedily as you can. Now, it looks like both players going to be scouting each other at about the same time. Both players going to be getting about the latest possible scout that you can get on this map, because much like Metalopolis, this is another map where you cannot get a close by ground position. You can either get close by air positions in these two positions here, or you can get cross positions here. Now, in the base of Feast, we can see that he did go for a pretty fast expansion here. That might have actually even been Nexus first by the looks of it. Maybe you even had that gateway up first. Sorry, I missed that on the production tab. But nevertheless, that Nexus is now up and going to be running here very shortly, as we might see a probe transfer here coming from Feast, as it looks like, yes indeed, we are going to be moving some probes down onto the low ground, but MMA is moving forward with one SCV. A bunker is now being placed down. There is a Marine coming out. There's a second coming down along the way as well, and now Feast is going to be forced to pull probes to be able to deal with this, and he's now going to be chrono boosting out a Zealot as quickly as he can. Looks like he might just barely get that SCV. No, loses one probe though. And will he get it? Yes, he does finally pick off that SCV, once again making this bunker a little bit excessive for MMA. Going to be forced to cancel that very shortly. There we go. There goes the cancel by MMA. And in the base of MMA, following this aggression, has looked like it's going to be a 1-1-1 build. We do see that one Gas Geyser is up and running. We do see that Hellions are coming across the map here. And this one Zealot, which was heading to the base of MMA, is now being forced to turn around and head back home, as he's now taking a lot of damage from these Marines and Hellions. But two Stalkers are now out on the field here from Feast. And as we can see, with those two Stalkers, he is going to be able to push back those Marines and Hellions, both of which do not do very much damage to Stalkers. Now, it looks like he's going to continue to poke towards the middle of the map if he can help it, but these Stalkers are going to be able to pick off these Marines very quickly if MMA doesn't pull back. MMA is kind of in a position where he's forced to fight here just because Stalkers are faster than Marines, so if he just runs the whole way back and Feast actually chases him, he will actually be able to pick off probably most of those Marines before they get back to the base. Now, we do see that this factory is now producing a Hellion. We do see Medivacs now coming out on the way. Is he going to try to go for that similar build as he went for in a previous game, where he's going to try to go for this drop? I believe it was game 1 where he tried to go for that early drop play, but got it pretty badly messed up by Feast's early aggression. And it looks like that is exactly what MMA is going to be going for, as he's loading up Hellions. Looks like it's just going to be a Hellion drop, and notice he is expanding behind this. So MMA going to be taking an expansion. It's going to be a little bit behind that of Feast, as Feast has been up and running for a while, and my computer is lagging. But the Harvester count is currently sitting at 31 to 25 Harvesters. Looks like Feast going to be throwing up a third and fourth gateway, as well as a robotics facility here. So it looks like he's going to be going a little bit more macro-oriented than he went in the previous games, where he went for something a little bit all-in-ish with a very high gateway count. And oh, there is a pylon here in position, but oh, MMA dropping his units just barely out of range of that pylon, and now look at that reaction speed from Feast. That was actually really good. He actually pulled those probes really fast. The second he saw those Hellions, that was actually very well pulled back there. And whoa, MMA actually getting off a few extra probes that he probably, a few extra probe kills that he probably should not have gotten, but currently up to 8 workers killed so far, and now he's just going to be loading up into that medevac, pulling right back home. Now, in the meantime, Feast did throw down a pylon here in this forward position. He did scout that his opponent has no expansion yet, so once again, Feast has got to be feeling pretty good about himself right now, in that he's had that expansion up and running for a while, and MMA has not had his base running for at all yet, and now it looks like he's going to be adding on a lot more gateways. This might actually spur Feast into going for some kind of an attack. As we can see, he's now researching that warp gate research. Actually coming down a little bit late here on that warp gate research, but given the pressure that he was under, that is pretty reasonably timed. It looks like he's now going to be chrono boosting it out to try to get it out a little bit quicker. We do see Immortals are now coming out. MMA trying to go for a drop again, but Feast being really good about leaving some stalkers here on this high ground. Going to be sure that MMA is forced back home, and as we can see, he is now being forced to retreat to those Xel'Naga towers, and MMA just now choosing to take his second base as he starts to take down the destructible rocks to his third as well. In the base of MMA, we do see that 3 barracks are now up researching concussive shell as well as stim pack. Factory not being used for anything at all right now other than building add-ons. As we can see, more medevacs are being produced here. And now the first observer is now out for Feast, as he's going to start to move across the map, get into his opponent's base, and see exactly what his opponent is doing. In the meantime, we do have 6 gateways now down here for Feast, and notice that the natural expansion, no gas has yet been taken. So I think we might actually be seeing a big gateway push here from Feast. I think we might actually be seeing something of a 6-gate robo push here out of Feast, where he's just going to be, it's just a smidgen all in. These kinds of pushes generally tend to be just a little bit all in, just because you do neglect taking gas for quite a while. He will continue to get more probes, but I would imagine he's going to start cutting probes here very shortly in favor of warping in lots and lots of units at the front door. And now Feast has quite a good-sized army that he's moving to the front. Food count dead even right now. If we check out the Harvester count, they are about even, 43 Harvesters to 41, with Feast in the lead now. With his observer, he's now going to start to do some damage to these buildings up on the high ground, and MMA not getting supply blocked quite yet, but there is a drop going down in the main expansion, or in the main base of Feast right now. There's one Immortal here, but oh, probes are being pulled off the line to be able to defend against this, as Feast is currently focused more on this upper attack, as he really wants to end this game during this attack. There we go. We do see 4 Zealots now being warped in at this bottom location, as Feast continues to try to be aggressive up here. Mr. Bitter has now left the game. Oh no, looks like they might have lost the casters during the game, but that is alright, because I am casting it now. Not that I'm a better caster than Mr. Bitter, but we do have a big engagement going on right now, as Feast tries to get off some good force fields, but MMA just playing very smart, pulling back, trying not to fight too hard into those force fields, but this drop still doing a lot of damage as MMA picks up, drops down at the low ground. If we check out the workers killed, 20 workers killed so far for MMA. Now way up in the Harvester lead, 50 Harvesters to 36. MMA is in a good position, and now Feast now being forced to pull back his entire army to have to deal with this drop play here from MMA, and MMA is just going to be unloading here on this high ground, healing up those 2 Marauders, and maybe going in for a drop once again. Looks like MMA actually deciding to take a 3rd base right now, as that command center is now coming down at the location of that 3rd. More barracks now being thrown down. We do see an engineering bay is complete here. Is there a second one? I believe there might be a second engineering bay here somewhere. No? Looks like he did already research. Yeah, there we go. +1 bio attack has been completed. We do have +1 bio armor now coming on the way, and Feast has got no upgrades at all so far, and MMA is starting to actually climb ahead in the food count because of the workers that Feast lost. And Feast is, he did replenish some of his workers there, but not here at all. Looks like he's still low on workers there, and he's just going to be setting up to go for a pretty much all-in attack here, as he's not even trying to take a third right now. But MMA continuing to move around with these Marauders, continuing to try to poke in, being very, very actively aggressive with that one medevac. I actually really like that from MMA. He said, you know what, if you're focusing all of your APM on this up here, then I'm going to continue to poke in here to see if I can't force you to focus some of your attention here and maybe cause you to lose the fight up here. The bunker does go down at the front, but MMA still has a good number of units. These are all +1 bio units. We do see Combat Shield just now finishing, as well as Terran Infantry Armor, and he's going to be feeling a lot stronger, and now two Marauders going to be skimming in, and he is now going to be taking some damage, as now Feast is undecided in what exactly he should be doing. He can't quite decide what he wants to do. Looks like he is just going to try to go for the all-in right now, as he started to pull back there, but he has decided that he is just going to stay there. But MMA is getting steadily ahead in the food count, 130 food to the 115 right now of Feast, as Feast is trying to just warp in more units, but he's currently supply capped right now, and his resources are starting to climb a little high. It looks like that drop did finally get cleaned up there, but now I don't know. Feast is in a pretty dangerous position right now, as he's currently sitting at only 39 harvesters to the 62 of MMA, and MMA is going to soon be mining on that third base, and here comes the final engagement, as force fields try to go down, trapping some of those SCVs in, as MMA is now pulling all of his SCVs to try to absorb damage. He knows his opponent is fairly all in here, and he knows he's pretty ahead and can afford to lose a lot of workers, and here comes the engagement as MMA continues to stem forward and deal so much damage to the bio forces of Feast, and Feast GG's out of Game 4, and MMA takes the series 3-1. Unbelievable play here from MMA, showing off why he is one of the best StarCraft 2 players in the world. He is just oh so good, has such a good game sense in StarCraft 2. Oh, this drop is actually still alive. I was wrong. It looks like MMA was just able to fight in two places at once, deal with that drop and deal with his main army at the front of his base. Unbelievable game there by MMA. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that series. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. If you didn't, then comment down below, because that's where you let me know that you did not enjoy it, and I will respond to pretty much almost every single comment I get on my videos, just because I always want to be really, really involved in what my users, or my subscribers rather, think about my casts and all of that good stuff. So comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and that is going to do it for me, guys. Thanks for watching. Glitch out.